Hello doctor, my name is Aida Farhana of the Azahari and my metric number is 97976. Before I'm going to start with my presentation, I'm going to introduce all my group members and what they're going to present. For understanding the case, me myself will explain about key personality traits of the individual, while Dazidane Dominic 109590 will explain about individual behavior and emotional pattern and explain factors that influencing their personality. For application of theory, Nur Fithriyaani binti Tudin 105620 will explain about theory related to psychology and how it applies to the case. For practical application, Nabilah Huda binti Shamsun 100022 will explain about suggestion and how individuals improve or manage their behavior. Last but not least, Fhilomena, Lyvia, Vidu, Anak, Matan 98971 will explain about what kind of support might help and conclusion from the case. Case study that we all agree to choose is scenario 1, which is Farah is a university student who constantly worries about her academic performance and social interactions. She often replays conversation in her mind and fears that others may judge her negatively. Even when she performs well, she feels dissatisfied and anxious. Her friend describe her as irresponsible but too hard on herself. Key personality trait that I'm choosing is Big Five personality traits, or known as Ocean, established by D.W. Fisk in 1949 and later expanded upon by other researchers such as Norman in 1967, Smith in 1967, Goldberg in 1981, and McRae and Costa in 1987. For openness, it's very hard to know since the scenario does not explain much. We don't know that whether she is someone that willing to do or experience something new, or she is the type that follow the traditional way. High in conscientiousness, she may be a goal-oriented and perfectionist, since her friend mentions that she is responsible but too hard on herself. Low in extraversion, she is often worried about social interaction and often replays conversation in her head. An introvert person often think deeply of others' reaction and words. High in agreeableness, Farah tend to fear that others may judge her negatively. People that high in agreeableness tend to be people pleaser because they care too much about others. High in neuroticism, Farah always worry about academic performance and still feeling dissatisfied and anxious even performing well. She cannot manage her emotional stability and experience dramatic shift in mood. That's all
The
from me.
behaviors and emotional patterns of our case study, Farah, is that she is constantly worrying about the academics and the social interactions. That alludes to her having negative automatic thoughts. These thoughts are where someone's thoughts shift from being neutral or somewhat positive to always thinking about something negative. This is something developed by David A. Clark and Adrian Wells. And because of that, the Farah also does post-event processing, which is the reason why she always replays conversation in her mind. This is amplified by rumination, which results in her fears that she may have said or done something that would make others judge her negatively. This is where she has a conversation, and after that conversation, she thinks about like, I think I did something wrong. I think I said something wrong. Does she hate me now? I think she hates me now. I think they hate me now. Something like that. And she always ruminates, thinking about what she said that may have an effect on her social standings between her friends. And that is very unhealthy. And besides that, despite good performance, she minimizes her achievements, resulting in anxiety and dissatisfaction. Despite getting very good academic performance, she always says something like, "This isn't enough. This isn't enough. I don't think this is enough. I'm not good enough." Something like that. She's been saying things like that. This is perfectionist thinking, and it is unhealthy. This is not being hard on herself. This is perfectionist thinking and is very unhealthy. The emotional patterns of Farah is that she She has perfectionist self-criticism and social anxiety with rumination. These are main patterns which result in her worrying all the time about her academic performance and social interactions, where in her mind, in her mental cognitive state, she always thinks things negatively. She constantly thinks negative thoughts on her actions and how her actions affect her and others' view on her. Some of the factors to why Farah, our case study one, to be acting like this is one of them may be cognitive distortions. Despite performing well academically, Farah might see it as not enough due to feedback from parents or comparing herself to those who perform better. Despite being objectively above average, the cognitive thoughts in her mind cause her to feel inadequate, and she always hard on herself. Even though she's scoring like 4-pointers, she always think that no, I'm not good enough, something like that. So some of them, the second factor might be psychological factors, where Farah might have had unpleasant personal experience in the past, as she is extremely careful in how she talks in social interactions. For example, she might have been called out or maybe reprimanded for things that she said in the past, and this has a traumatic effect on her, to the point where she does post-event processing to see if she had said anything wrong in the conversation she just had with others. Another factor might be environmental factors, where Farah might have been raised in an environment where she was told her grades could always be better and better and better, despite scoring the best amongst her peers. For example, she might have an A minus, but due to the environment, she was, you need an A, something like that. That kind of thought drilled into a child or from the environment caused her to develop perfectionism and is anxious about her academic achievements because she always worries it might not be enough.
Now, we will discuss the psychological theories that can be applied to the case study. The first theory is cognitive behavioral theory, developed by Aaron Beck in 1960s. According to this theory, emotion, thoughts, and behaviors are interconnected and influence individuals' reactions. Therefore, the way individuals perceive a situation is more closely related to their reactions rather than the situation itself. In summary, this theory suggests that individuals tend to have automatic thoughts in any situations, resulting in emotional, behavioral, and physiological responses. In Farah's case, there are two situations that can be identified: academic performance and social interactions. Although Farah performed well in academics, she often thinks that she is not studying hard enough and could perform better. These automatic thoughts makes her feel dissatisfied and anxious, pushing herself to work even harder. The second situation involves social interactions, in which Farah always thinks that she sounds awkward and feels that people are judging her. These automatic thoughts makes her to keep replaying and overanalyzing her conversations due to fear of judgment. So, based on these two situations, Farah's negative automatic thoughts influence her reactions more than the actual situation itself. As a result, she's being overly hard on herself even when she's actually performed well in both academic and social interactions. The second theory is self-discrepancy theory, developed by Edward Torrey Higgins in 1987. This theory suggests that individuals compare their actual self with their ideal and old self. When there is a discrepancy between this self, for example, when the actual self did not meet the ideal or old self, it leads to negative emotions. From the case study, Farah sees herself as not good enough in academic performance and social interactions. However, she aspires to be confident and successful, reflecting her ideal self. To achieve this ideal, she tries her best to perform well in academic and social situations. When Farah compares her actual self with her ideal and old self, a gap exists as she has not met her goals and expectations. This results in negative emotions such as dissatisfaction and anxiety because Farah believes that she has failed to meet her own standards.
So I will explain for the suggestion and how Farah can improve her behavior. From all of these suggestions, Farah can slowly learn how to manage her thoughts and reduce her anxiety and become more confident, which from how she manage her negative feelings, negative thoughts, about herself or from the academic stress that she's been having. So over time, there will be small changes that can help her feel more balanced and less pressured in both the academic and social life. For the first suggestion, we have cognitive behavioral therapy, or we can call it as CBT. This method can help Farah to understand that her thoughts can affect her feelings and actions. For example, when she thinks, I am not good enough, it makes her feel anxious and stressed. So through CBT, Farah can write down her negative thoughts and check if they are really true. She can use any journal or notebook that she have, and she can ask herself, is there any proof, or am I being too hard on myself when she felt like negative thoughts during that time. And from this, it can help her replace negative thoughts with more balanced and realistic ones. We have acceptance and commitment therapy, or we can call it as ACT. This approach teaches Farah to accept her thoughts and feelings rather than fighting them. Sometimes trying to control our own thoughts make things worse. So instead of saying I am a failure, Farah can say I am having the thought that I am having a failure. From this, it can help her create some distance from the thoughts. At the same time, ACT encourage her to focus on her values, like doing her best and being kind to herself, even when she feels anxious. This can help her to distract or can be more positive about herself. And another important suggestion is to stay active and exercise regularly. Physical activity can help reduce stress and improve mood. For example, Farah can go jogging, walking, or do light exercise for at least 20 minutes a day or more. She can do this after she did her assignment, or having a leisure time during afternoon, during the evening, or anything free time that she can do it. From this, it not only helps her feel better physically, but also can improve her social connection and confidence, especially when she did the activity with her friends, or with when she meets another peers or person. So it really helps.
There are three key support from this kit, which is cognitive reprogramming or internal support. Farah needs to learn to fact-check her thoughts instead of letting her mind replay a conversation as a failure. She can ask, is there actual evidence that I was judged, or this is my anxiety talking? This is shift of focus from emotion to logic. Second is social validation or peer support. Farah friends already see her as responsible. Support from friends should focus on normalizing imperfection. By sharing their own mistakes, friends can help Farah realize that her worth isn't tied to being perfect, and that people value her for who she is, not just what she achieved. Last one is professional guidance, which is structured support. University counseling or CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, will provide her with tools like mindfulness. This helps her stay in the now rather than replaying the past. It teaches her to treat herself with the same kindness she would for a friend. In summary, Farah case highlights the thin line between being a high achiever and being troubled by maladaptive perfectionism. While her friends see a responsible student, Farah is internally struggling with a circle of rumination and social anxiety that prevents her from actually feeling successful. By applying cognitive behavior theory, we can see that her distress doesn't come from her actual performance, which is objectively good, but from a distorted belief that anything less than perfection is a failure. To move forward, Farah must shift her focus from seeking external validation to building internal self-compassion. The goal for her isn't to stop being responsible, but to stop being her own harsh judge. By utilizing support systems like CBT, focus counseling, and peer group, she can learn to challenge her negative thought in real time. Ultimately, the key takeaway is that resilience is more valuable than perfection. Once Farah learns to accept good enough, she will finally be able to enjoy academic and social life she has worked so hard to build.